What defines you? Is it your past, your struggles, your mistake, or maybe it's something greater? Well, in this video, we're going to head over to 2 Corinthians and see if we can find out. In 2 Corinthians, Paul is writing to the church in Corinth about reconciliation with God through Christ. He reminds believers that being in Christ is not just about behaviour change. Instead, it's about a total transformation. Paul's talking about leaving behind your old identity that was shaped by sin and taking this new identity which is shaped by grace. Let's read through that passage, 2 Corinthians 5:17, and then we'll reflect on it a little bit deeper. So here we go. It tells us, "Therefore, if any man be in Christ, he is a new creature. Old things are passed away. Behold, all things are become new." The phrase "in Christ" is really important here in this passage, and Paul uses it a lot in his letters. I've read it's like 150 times that he uses it, and it means that what is true of Christ is true of you because you belong to him. And that's why when Paul says it's more than a behaviour change, he's not messing around. This is really serious stuff. When we think of self-improvement, we think of try harder, work on yourself, be better, make improvements in your life. But being in Christ, this union with Christ, means that we're already better because he's made us that way through his sacrifice. Now, when we think of a self-improvement process, we think that perhaps it's slow, it's step by step, it's gradual, but Paul's telling us something quite radical here. Again, he's flipping our common understanding and asking us to take on a new mindset. Now we're being told we're not some patched up version of ourselves. We haven't been fixed or repaired. Instead, we're this new creature, something brand new. So if we become a new creature, then you could think of it as us starting a new life. And in this new life, our old ways of thinking and living and acting, they're gone now. They've totally changed. And this new life that we're now experiencing is rooted in something completely different. It's rooted in forgiveness, peace, and freedom. I can look back on how I used to behave, things I used to say, and now it doesn't feel like that was me. That was a totally different person back then. But even so, I do still find myself clinging to old parts of that previous self. And now I'm this new creature. I want those parts of me to be different. I want to change. And that's really hard. That's not an easy thing to do. So while we're looking at it as being totally transformed, it's not happening immediately in the blink of an eye. We've still got work to do here. And I think that's what Peter was talking about in 2 Peter, where he tells us that we've got to go further with our faith. We've got to work on it. Because if we fully embraced this new creature, this new life in Christ, then we should want to make those changes. While before our identity was rooted in sin, now it's rooted in Jesus himself. And that changes everything. This new life in Christ brings new desires, new direction, new purpose. And our hearts are open to something different. The things I used to focus on and what drew me in, they've just all lost their power now. I'm not interested anymore. And what seemed completely impossible to me not that long ago, things like obedience, faith, and belief in God, now that's normal, and I cling to that belief, that faith I have now, and I can't imagine my life without it. You know, I've thought about the Bible as some kind of perfect self-help book. Don't do this, live this way, and if you follow these instructions, your life will be better. And it pretty much is better, but I think that's a mistake we can fall into when we think about the Bible as some simple self-help guide. The Bible is a supernatural book. It's a work of God's Spirit. And so we should be treating it with a lot more respect, because it's not just changing us on the outside and how we appear to the world. It's completely transforming us from the inside. And that's powerful. So this week, I'm going to be thinking about some of my old habits, some fears perhaps I've had, even beliefs or lies that I've believed in. And then I'm going to work on those, because if I am this new creature, I can't keep those false beliefs. I can't keep those bad behaviours, and I can't keep those fears either, because those fears don't come from God. They come from somewhere else. I love how this verse takes us right back to the gospel. We don't become new because of our own efforts. We become new because Jesus died, rose again, and gave us his spirit. All right, that's it for this video. Thanks for watching, and I look forward to seeing you next time.